Good morning, all of you. Welcome back to the channel. So here we're starting with the analysis video for 21st of October 2023. So India did not violate the diplomatic norms, India tells Canada. So this is regarding the issue that we had over again the Khalistani issue problem, which is again we are seeing that how even the internal security problems they are transnational also sometimes. So MEA issues the statement after Canada hits out at India for seeking reduction in the number of diplomats. It says that the move was necessitated by Canada's continued interference in the country's internal affairs. Then Israel says it won't control the Gaza civilians post the war. So this is another thing, but this is not of as much as concern. Like we talk about the current situation, how civilians they are being killed because of the bomb attacks which are being carried out in northern Gaza, in southern Gaza, violation of the refugee rights, violation of human rights. Then there is an inadequate supply of food, there is inadequate supply of fuel, healthcare services, they have been disrupted. So people are not having potable drinking water. So these are the major concerns, and the attacks they still continue. So in the short term, having or reaching a ceasefire is the possible criteria, or it should be the possible process so as to restore long-term peace. So firstly, ensuring कि ceasefire achieve ho jaye, and ensuring that all the stakeholders which are party to this war, to this issue, they agree to a sustainable solution on this thing, and ensuring कि initially जो third parties हैं they remain out of this process, and if there is need then they can intervene. So we've been talking about the regional rapid transit system. We've talked about the nitty-gritties, how different things have been made available in this entire network. How basically it would be having. We've discussed about the possible positive impacts of this regional rapid transit system, and again this model can be implemented in other metropolitan cities, which that like it can connect different economic hotspots. It can be again helping even in easier movement for the working class people. It can reduce again the traffic problem in the Delhi NCR region. It can again leave a positive impact when it comes to the poor air quality in Delhi. So these are some of the possible positive fallouts of this initiative. The name is Namo Bharat Train. This has been developed indigenously. So we are moving forward in again indigenous technological development. So government delays disturbs the judicial seniority. So this has been again said by the Supreme Court. So when we talk about the collegium system, we are seeing that once the names are recommended by the Supreme Court collegium, then we see that the government is delaying final approval of the names. So herein we are basically seeing in a way tussle between executive and the judiciary when it comes to the appointment. So we can go ahead with the reforms in the current collegium system. We can think how we can transform, how we can change the current collegium setup in order to ensure that there is again government representative also therein, so as to not move towards completely newer system. So herein Supreme Court had said that it was both troublesome also and very disturbing that the government delayed some judicial appointments and transfer in the high courts, while the certain picked and chosen names they were cleared within hours. So this is basically in a way showing कि यहाँ पे भी कहीं ना कहीं government की discretion is intervening. It is again leading to such results. So that's there. Agar like initially collegium system के अंदर it will be having an executive representative, so we might not see such kind of delays later on. So Kerala garment firm it holds fresh orders for the Israeli police uniforms. So there's a Kannur-based company says that its decision it will stand until the conflict between Israel and Hamas ends. So this is also one of the ways of supporting India's stand, not supporting again the terrorist-based attacks, not supporting again even the Israel, because we are seeing that India supports two-state solution. We want creation formation of Palestine. even we, India, see that this is again one of the solutions, and we stand by this thing. So this decision by this garment firm is again a way of supporting India's stand on this. So we have a commitment for peace. So that's there. So eradicate manual scavenging. We've been seeing that we are having a law on this. We're having different Supreme Court judgments. But when it comes to implementation, we're still seeing that the practice of manual scavenging, it still continues on the ground. So specifically in Delhi, we have had that basically new machines have been introduced so as to stop this manual scavenging. But when we again talk about the pan-India level, it basically violates the ideals of fraternity, equality, and dignity, which are mentioned in the preamble. So citizens, they remain a mere illusion if a sizable section of the society is forced to enter the sewers for a living and die trapped in them because of, again, the toxic gases which are released. So again, Supreme Court reiterates the same stand. And apart from this, we are having again the employment of the manual scavengers in construction of dilatrants prohibition act of 1993. We are having prohibition of employment as manual scavengers and the rehabilitation act 2013. So the top court itself had reinforced the prohibition and directed the rehabilitation of the people traditionally and otherwise as well who are engaged in the practice in the judgment. So even when you talk about the compensation payable for the severe deaths, that is rupees 30 lakhs, but again, nothing can compensate for a human death. So these are some of the other acts: prohibition of employment scavenging, employment in the manual scavengers, and the Rehabilitation Act of 2013. So here we have the Kerala High Court says that forcing a child to recite any prayer that is against free thought. So again, it is a violation of fundamental rights of the child. So the element of force and coercion shouldn't be there. So we see that court observed that India is a land of religious pluralism, but the event must be conducted by the Mattanur municipality and its library committee implicitly respecting this, and then the individual choices must also be respected, which are to be made by the parents. So even parents.
So Mansi, yeah, I have a issue in this matter that if the children is not able to understand what is right for him and what is bad for him, and his parents are forcing him to do prayer even against his free thought, what's the problem in that?
So I would say ki instead of forcing a child, even if obviously because he or she is a child, they're not in that age, they don't have achieved that maturity level of understanding the importance. But instead of forcing a child to recite a prayer, is not as important as ensuring that those values are a part of the upbringing of the child.
No, for an example, it depends on the mood of the children. For an example, in if there is a 6 years uh, baby girl or boy, if he will be forced because he will be more interested in doing other works like watching Doraemon and playing with cards. Why he will do the this puja and all? He will be made to force to do this, and I don't think that this is as such a discrimination happening, because those who are doing, they are their parents, so it is a part of parenthood to teach something. Because if you are teaching someone, so it is not necessary that every time you will teach with soft power. Sometimes you need to use your hard power. So that is a meaning of parenthood. So saying that it is against free thought, if let's suppose this is a child of 18 years old, 20 years old, then if you are doing the similar thing, then it could be said that it is against the free thought of the individual. But in childhood, if we are saying the similar thing, so I don't think it is a rational thing to say.
But even in childhood, we can again divide different age groups, children of different age groups, because a person below the age of 18 is considered to be child. So again, if you have attained a particular age of, 8 years and above, so then definitely this holds true that you can't force a child. But even when it comes to, holding those prayers or reciting the prayers, there are different manners of, employing that thing in a child's behavior. So even if again this is somewhere a violation of the child rights also when it comes to this element of force, so this shouldn't be there. How you are ensuring that the child
And
is.
one more thing, Mansi, I would like to add on that why, if थोड़ा डिटेल में अगर हम जाके इसको देखते हैं कि why parents in the early age force their children to do some act, it is only because it is mentioned in every religion. In every religion, it is mentioned that till the person attains the age of 12, each and every work which is done by the children will be beared by the parents. So that is the background reason because of which the parents force sometimes their child to do something which is justifiable as per the societal standard and as per the part of their parenthood.
Okay. So in Delhi, we see rupees 2.6 crore project to restore and conserve around 55 monuments at Mehrauli Archaeological Park that has been started in the month of March. So again, we see that conservation of historical monuments, again, which are important for the perspective of art and culture, that is definitely very important to preserve our history. So that is a drive which has been undertaken. So like we are having um, the Mehrauli Archaeological Park. It is adjacent to the Qutub Minar, which is a UNESCO World Heritage Site. So different sites that will be restored under this project includes the Khaljis, Tughlaqs, Lodhis, Mughals, and the British era architectures and the structures. So this includes the Kamali Mosque, Metcalfe House, Raja Ki Bauli. So for us, even there the characteristics of these architecture and the cultural structures becomes important for us, so we can again go into certain basic details of their features and the elements that we have. So apart from this, we are seeing this is a multi-agency effort which is being carried out. So Delhi Development Authority is a part of it, Archaeological Survey of India is a part of it. So restoration and repair work would be carried out so as to safeguard the traditional materials and even the techniques that would be employed to restore these structures. So herein we are basically seeing that principles of the master plan for Delhi 2021 and unified building bylaws 2016, which promote adaptive reuse of the historic buildings. They were applied during the redevelopment work. And even when we talk about the tourists who visit to these different sites, their behavior, how basically they are not, littering the garbage around these sites, even that is equally important. And apart from this, yes, we are seeing that impact of climate change, that is also somewhere impacting the quality of these structures.
Yeah, so Mansi, we can take that editorial part that how the caste census is going to affect the secularism in India.
Politics of a caste census. So impact of the politics, the political element that becomes a part of this caste census and how that is impacting the secularism. So here we see by consistently championing the issue of having a caste census, we have seen that even the opposition group, the opposition bloc, they are supporting that they would be carrying out caste census in different states if they come in power. So they say that they're basically supporting this thing. So this is one stand by them. We have seen recently the caste census kiya gaya tha Bihar mein. So caste census, it could trigger a process of social engineering that could upset the Hindutva's apple cart of Hindu majoritarian unity. This is one thing explaining that rights reluctance when you talk about this. So, how the reason why Hindutva seems reluctant to have a caste census is because it believes it might open a Pandora's box of claims and counterclaims relating to positions in power, about like who got what, when, and how. So basically, these can further trigger such types of questions. अगर ऐसे caste census और किए जाएंगे, we have seen कि because of the caste census and the results they are made public, they are made transparently open, they're available with the public. So reservation के लिए we'll see different communities, different castes would start demanding more reservation. So these are some of the possible repercussions of this. And last time that a caste census it was carried out was in 1931. This was a time when organized right groups, they were the marginal players during India's freedom movement. So after independence, there was a possibility for the caste census to be resumed in 1951, and it is plausible that in the non-resumption of the caste census, matlab even after independence, we did not go ahead with carrying out a caste census. So it was plausible कि जो non-resumption था the caste census 1951 के बाद, मतलब caste census नहीं किया गया, तो the right might have played a crucial role in this decision also, because as we saw that Bruce Graham, who's the author of the most definitive work on the BJP, so there are certain political things we are not against. So these are not so important for us from the perspective of examination. So as part of the Meri Mati Mera Desh, railways have planned special trains for this. So Indian Railways will operate special trains to transport the volunteers who will be carrying the mitti, that is soil, from state capitals and other major stations across the country to reach New Delhi on 29th of October. So this initiative is a part of Meri Mati Mera Desh, that is My Soil, My Country campaign, which is being organized by Ministry of Culture as a tribute to the Veers and the Virangnas, that is the brave hearts, who have made the supreme sacrifice for the country. So that's there. And again, like India is such a country that we, worship our land. We see it as a kind of goddess. Like that's how we pray and respect. So around 20,000 volunteers with the colors containing the soil, they'll be participating in this, which will be culminating in the year-long Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav. So that's there. And so coming to the business page, we see RBI governor says that global uncertainties, they have risen over the past fortnight. So here this is again, one thing is related to the Israel-Palestine war, the attack by Hamas on Israel. So stock exchanges, financial institutions, they must be the first line of defense against rising risk. So cautioning the interest rates, they are going to remain at a higher level in the foreseeable future. So again, we discussed this element, the higher rate पे हायर लेवल पे इंटरेस्ट रेट्स थोड़े लॉन्गर टाइम पीरियड के लिए सस्टेन करने वाले हैं, वो कैसे हमारी इकोनॉमिक ग्रोथ को इम्पैक्ट कर सकते हैं, कैसे वो इन्वेस्टमेंट साइकिल को इम्पैक्ट करेंगे. एंड एट द सेम टाइम इंटरेस्ट रेट इतने हायर लेवल पे इंक्रीज करने के बाद भी वी आर सीइंग कि इन्फ्लेशन स्टिल हमारे लिए कंसर्न है. तो कुछ अगेन कंसर्न्स है अराउंड the economics, specifically how the external factors they're also impacting different countries. So with this, we are also seeing key foreign portfolio investors, they are also exiting from India, because USA may at the same time we are seeing key bond yields jo hain, they are at an all-time high. So even that is causing problem for India in form of rising pressure on Indian rupee. Indian rupee is depreciating. Uske wajah se we are seeing that RBI has to intervene in the market in order to ensure, or basically by supplying more dollars in the market. So that's there. And apart from this, we are also focusing upon कि कैसे हम government debt को और ज़्यादा lower और ज़्यादा reduce या target achieve कर सकते. The government is looking to reduce its overall debt levels and has consciously chosen not to profligate about spendings so as not to burden the future generations. So that's there. If government debt would increase, so obviously जो we can say कि higher amount of tax revenue जो future generations को pay करना पड़ेगा, that would be again a kind of a burden for them. So that's there. And apart from this, we are seeing कि कैसे we can rationalize subsidies provided on food, fertilizers, and fuel. So that's there. Apart from this, we are also ensuring कि even specifically crude oil pay, we are import dependent. So how we can ensure कि we are having adequate amount of domestic supplies, import के ऊपर dependence हमारा gradually reduce हो सके, so as to keep the Indian or make the Indian economy resilient to these external factors and external fluctuations. So here, the FRBM Act becomes important for this fiscal management. And even when we talk about the state level, so we are seeing that borrowing has been increasing at the state level. So again, वो भी उस चीज को भी monitor करना to know the reasons why states are borrowing more. So they don't have any other option left, because when you talk about it, even the GST compensation cess वो उनको नहीं pay किया गया, वहाँ पे भी उनके लिए जो option open up हुआ, that is to borrow. So that is also a growing concern, how we'll be managing state level debt. So household consumption, as we know, कि India में Indian economy is consumption driven economy. After that, we see that investment plays an important role. So household consumption, it is propping up the economy. So this can be also because of the festival season as well. So that's another update as far as the trends are concerned. So consumer confidence, even that is increasing. And when we talk about core inflation, so that is again within the tolerance band of 2 to 6%. So that's these are some of the factors which are again leading to positive outlook at the consumer front. So Malaysia eyes India to boost tourism via the rustic homestays. So how basically even we are promoting rural tourism. So here and we are seeing Malaysia is interested in this kind of tourist setup. So robust air connectivity to India, it makes Malaysia bullish about selling the homestays. So that's one micro area where we talk about how we can boost tourism. So it is focusing upon India and China. So Malaysia is currently able to attract only 50,000 foreign students. India and China will be its focus geographies to grow the sector considerably. So that's there. Coming to Financial Express newspaper, so this we have taken up reducing the government debt is the focus. The fiscal deficit target for this financial year is 5.9%. And RBI governor highlights that there are risks which are more pronounced, and rate cut is not on RBI's agenda as of now. So rate cut तो हम अभी expect बिल्कुल नहीं कर सकते. But हमारे लिए again जो global level पे भी concern है कि whether Fed would be going ahead with increasing the interest rates further or not, तो वो एक बहुत बड़ा concern and question है हमारे लिए. We can see that FPI pullout drags the market. So this would add up more pressure on the Indian rupee. It would be depreciating further, and depreciation की वजह से although we say it supports exports, but वो जो transformation time होता है, जो transmission time होता है, वो थोड़ा बड़ा या ज़्यादा time gap exist करता है. So short term impact हमें देखने को मिलता है in terms of imported inflation, because then imports become cheaper with rupee depreciating. So कहीं ना कहीं इसकी वजह से जो हमारा करंट अकाउंट डेफिसिट है उसके ऊपर भी प्रेशर इंक्रीज होता है. So top sectoral losers were the telecom sector, realty sector, services, oil and gas, and consumer durables. So in sectors में से we saw FPIs, they have exited from their investments. So hospitality sector, hotels, they expect good times to roll on. So again, when we talk about boosting the tourism, do we have a proper dedicated policy for the how to promote tourism in India? So again, specific areas maybe we are also now focusing upon कि border tourism कैसे हम promote कर सकते हैं under the Vibrant Village program. So that's there. And even in Maharashtra also, we are trying how we can promote rural tourism, because again, people are looking for not that, luxury tourist stays. Comparatively, we're focusing upon a simpler and having more authentic and organic holiday experiences. So therein, again, different pockets in India, specifically the rural pockets, and even for them, again, this can become again one of the livelihood options at the same time. Aiming for the moon. So Prime Minister says that we have drawn a strong roadmap till 2040 for the space sector. So again, how we are having, proper plans when it comes to even the space sector, because before this, we can say we were not having a proper plan, long-term planning. Like right now we are in 2023, we have a proper timeline, how we'll be going ahead, how we'll be proceeding further when it comes to the space sector in India. So that day is not far when we will land an Indian on the moon on our own spacecraft. So that is again very significant thing. We're focusing ki indigenous technologies develop karke unhi ko use karke we again, that is one of the important you can say part also, which ensures कि जो हमारे space missions हैं उनकी cost बहुत low रहती है comparatively to the global space missions. So that is all because of the indigenous technologies that we have and the competitiveness जो cost factor है हमें positively support करता है. So recent focus अभी हमारा गगनयान mission पे हो रहा है. We are having different test flights going on. So Supreme Court's Nestle ruling may lead to flurry of tax notices to MNCs. So let's understand क्या यहाँ पे main problem है. तो retrospective saga, again, we see most of these tax notices जो भेजे गए हैं, they may open up closed tax records for the past year. So this is basically the retrospective effect जिसको हम बोलते हैं. Going into the past, जो पहले के cases हैं, they might open up. So these new tax demands, it will have wide repercussions for the industry, and it could lead to revenue gains for the government at the same time. So again, possibility of increase in government's fiscal resources and revenue. Supreme Court ruled that the treaty benefit of lower withholding tax of 5% cannot be made available to OECD countries just on the MFN basis. So here we see that Supreme Court recent ruling that no automatic international treaty benefit, including a lower withholding tax, is available to the foreign companies which are operating in India, may lead to spate of tax demand. So this is the main concern. So automatic application nahi hota hai international treaty benefits ka to the foreign companies which are operating in India. So this is one thing. So iski wajah se jo taxes पे नहीं किए गए हैं, दे ये एक तरीके से ये बर्डन इन कंपनीज के ऊपर आ सकता है. सो मोस्ट फेवर्ड नेशन के अगेन गार्ब के अंडर यू कांट से कि टैक्स बेनिफिट्स आपको मिलने चाहिए. सो दिस इज अगेन अ clause in India's even double taxation avoidance agreement with the OECD member countries, which provides for the lowering of the rate of taxation at source on dividends, interest, royalties, fees for the technical services which are paid by Indian companies. So even High Court has noted कि जो concessions हैं under this double taxation avoidance agreement जो हमने OECD countries के साथ भी sign करे हैं, they would be given to the respective OECD countries subsequently. So यहाँ पे जो main चीज है, that is इनका automatic application नहीं होगा. So that's there. And अगेन इसका एक पॉसिबल बेनिफिट गवर्नमेंट के लिए हो सकता है कि फिस्कल प्रूडेंस, हमारा जो फिस्कल डेफिसिट टारगेट है उसको अचीव करने में कहीं ना कहीं और हमें हेल्प कर सकता है. So given the pendency of the cases, there is an important need to increase the NCLT strength, the National Company Law Tribunal strength, by half. So aiming for the higher, see, government needs to build a capacity of resolving at least 1,000 cases per year. So in the current financial year, IBBI, it feels, जो regulator है NCLT का, insolvency bankruptcy code का, that की जो total resolutions है may touch 300 also, which can be the highest so far since the enactment of IBC in 2016. So इसलिए increasing the strength of NCLT is one of the possible solutions for this. Apart from this, how we can again leverage technology, e-codes, that can also be taken into consideration. So crude oil bill it is down by 23% in the first half. So low global prices and Russian discounts ने हमें again favor किया है. So discounted crude oil हम रशिया से import कर रहे थे and first half के दौरान जो global prices थे वो भी lower level पे थे. So that's why जो हमारा crude import bill है that is reduced by around 23%. So this is the trend. But right now again higher crude oil prices हमारे लिए फिर से concern हो चुका है. Specifically Russia-Ukraine war is going on. Apart from this, we are seeing again West Asia में और conflicts they are emerging out. Even Armenia, Azerbaijan में there's a conflict. We are seeing then Israel-Hamas attacks. That is another problem area for us. So Saudi Arabia and Russia, they have extended their production cuts. Definitely even जब हम OPEC की बात करते हैं, OPEC plus की बात करते हैं, तो even they have announced production cuts. तो सारे factors कहीं ना कहीं ultimately they are resulting in higher crude oil prices. So right now India का जो biggest supplier of crude oil है that is Russia, followed by Iraq and then Saudi Arabia. So such types of questions definitely they come up in prelims also. So, you know, remembering this chronology is important. So cyclonic storm is brewing up in the Arabian Sea. Of late we are seeing कि Arabian Sea maybe the number of cyclones has been increasing. So cyclonic storm. Firstly हमारे लिए ये समझना important है basic चीज जो है कि what are the conditions, climatic conditions which leads to formation of cyclone. So here that is one thing, and this next cyclone will be named as Tej. So naming of cyclone, इसके पीछे क्या पूरा process है, that is important. Apart from this, cyclonic storm is predicted to further intensify into a severe cyclonic storm. So type of storms कौन से होते हैं according to their intensity. So this would be moving towards south coast of Oman and adjoining Yemen. I think rest we will be covering up in part 2 of this video. Okay, so we can take up this last article. Monetary policy must stay actively disinflationary. This is again words of RBI governor. So going forward, inflation outlook continues to be beset with uncertainty, especially from the adverse weather events. So even we saw this time, monsoon was impacted because of El Nino, which resulted in distorted rain patterns. So inflation again, this is again one concern around inflation, and then uncertainties in the global food and energy prices, and then volatility in the global financial markets also because of all the other factors. So jitne bhi factors hain, they are somewhere interdependent on each other. So food inflation, cereal inflation a concern hai. Then global geopolitical risks are there, and apart from this, global financial market में जो volatility देखने को मिल रही है because of these interconnected factors. We are seeing FPIs are exiting, we are seeing rupees depreciating. So ये भी कहीं ना कहीं सारे inflation के लिए हमारे लिए concern है. So that is why actively it is important we are focusing upon disinflation. So at the same time, कितना impact होता है of monetary policy changes on the inflation, specifically the supply side inflation. That is also an important link. Supply side पे it is important for us to focus on the measures जो supply disruptions को plug करने में help करे instead, because we see कि monetary policy has kind of direct impact on the inflation which is because of the demand side factors. So उसको stop करने के लिए it is effective, but when we talk about the supply side inflation, therein role of fiscal policy becomes very, very important. So this is another dimension of this. So let's cover now the Indian Express newspaper in part 2 of the session.